Hello. So this video will be going over the various mouse grips and mouse shapes. So there are three main mouse grips, okay? Three main ways you can hold the mouse, and there's variations within that, but we'll look at them now. So the first grip is called palm, okay? If you want to demonstrate what that is, there's the mouse. Here's your hand, okay? Just plop your hand just directly on top of it like that, nice and relaxed. And this is the most natural way to grip a mouse, okay? So a lot of people, if you put a computer in front of them with a mouse the first time, this is the way they're going to hold it. And okay, the second grip is claw. Okay, to demonstrate that, all you need to do from this starting position, the palm, move your fingers back in an arch like that. Okay, that is a claw. And the idea of this is that you can click faster with your fingers in this position. And people in the mouse enthusiast community tend to see this as just a superior version of palm, but I'd argue that they are very similar, other than perhaps with the claw being able to click faster. And then the third type is fingertip. Okay, so from the claw, you just move your palm off of the back of the mouse. Okay, your palm, move that off. Okay, and now you can see I have this new range of motion here. You see there's no touching at the back. The only thing touching is the fingertips. Okay, that's why it's called the fingertip grip. And there is another kind of grip. They call it the 1-3-1, and the thumb is the 1 on the left side of the mouse. 3 middle fingers go on top, and then the pinky on the right. Okay, and the point of this is that your middle mouse button has permanent access to the scroll wheel. And I mean, I don't want to get too involved in which grip is better and whatnot, because ultimately I don't really advocate trying to purposely switch between them. It's best to just stick with your natural whatever grip is most intuitive for you, you should stick with, because I've used all three grips over the span of many years of using a PC, and I can say that you end up being around the same level you would be anyway, but then it takes like a month or two to adjust to the new grip. It's just not an experience I'd recommend. If you're very comfortable using palm like this, no matter what people say online, I'd argue that your skill ceiling is going to be just about as high as someone who's using a claw, and even a fingertip. The only difference is, so fingertip is probably the most interesting grip, because instead of just having your being able to move your arm and your wrist to make mouse movements, you have your 5 fingers, these extra 5 appendages that you can use. So you have a third layer, of motion that you can make extra fine adjustments with, and that can be useful, especially for vertical motion like that, right? So if I'm using palm or claw, you see, like I can't like if I want to do vertical movement, I have to move my arm up and down, and that's why it may be useful to kind of say, if you have claw, some people, what they'll do is they'll go from claw to fingertip, just for those vertical motions, and there's going to be, that's what I mean, there's hybrid grips in between each of these. If you look at like CSGO pros, like there's lots of videos analyzing the various grips that they use, and you can see that there's some really crazy ones. It's like weird stuff like that. So let's go into what shapes are likely to fit what grip. Okay, so by this point in the video, you should have an understanding of what grip you use. Okay, if you're confused, then leave a comment, and ideally take a picture of your hand from various angles while holding the mouse, and we can probably figure that out for you. So if we start with palm, so I would recommend a kind of ergo mouse, right? So there's I'll tell you what, let's go into that, right? So there's two main mouse shapes, okay? So there's ambi and there's ergo, okay? And so this is an ambi mouse, okay? This is a ergo mouse. You see, like, this is symmetrical from left to right. You see, like, there's indentation, like it's concave, right, on the left and right side. This one isn't. So it's concaved on the left side, but on the right side it slopes outwards, okay? So that's the difference between ambi and ergo, and I feel like this is the main distinction between mouse shapes. You know, more examples. Let's see. So Ultralight 2 from Finalmouse, ambi. IntelliMouse, Microsoft IntelliMouse Pro, that's ergo. You see it sloped on one side. This is important to understand, okay? Even, look, so this is a very unorthodox shape. This is the Logitech G303. It's a discontinued mouse, but it doesn't look like the other ambi mice, but the important thing is that it's symmetrical. You can draw a line from the back to the front, and you can mirror it, okay? So if you use palm, then I would recommend an ergo mouse, okay? Because these mice, like this shape, these ergo shapes are designed for palm grip, so that it's you know, it's easy to just slap your hand on there and it feels comfortable, you know. Whereas like these mice, like these you can use palm grip with them, but these were specifically designed for palm grip. Okay, so palm grip, I would recommend an ergo mouse, and not only that, but you want a large one, a large sized mouse, because if you have an ergo shaped mouse that's too small, I have like, they do a DefAdder Mini, right, and that mouse kind of defeats the purpose of what, you know, the ergo shape is supposed to be. Because if you have like a tiny little baby mouse that's ergo, how are you supposed to put your whole hand on it? You know, it's going to be really cramped, and that's not what you want with palm. What you may notice is that you know, so the DefAdder is a large mouse, right? And if you have smaller hands, you may be forced into a palm grip, even though it's not the most intuitive way to normally hold a mouse. So different mice may force you into different grips. That's important to know. So all right, palm grip out the way. Ergo mice. Okay. So you want to be. I tell you what. I won't give specific recommendations in this video because you know, these things, like what I recommend is going to change month by month. But you want to be looking at ergo mice, like the DefAdder, your classic shape. And for claw grip, right? Palm on the back, fingers arched. You want a mouse with a big bum, right? So this mouse is the Endgame XM1, and you see like the slope is more towards the back, and you know, you see this in other mice like the Cooler Master MM710, and it's ideal, you know. That being said, you know, just because I feel like this design feature is most suitable for a certain grip, that doesn't mean that you are going to like it. I'm saying, generally speaking, if you're using claw, that's something you're probably going to like. Is what I'd recommend. So as opposed to that, so I have a deconstructed G Pro wireless here. Just pretend that this is an actual mouse, and if you look at the side view, you can see that the arch is towards, it's dead in the middle, right, as opposed to being at the back. And that's because the G Pro wireless is very neutral in its design, so it aims to please as many people as possible. Okay, Logitech designed this mouse for broad market appeal. If a mouse is designed with very specific and aggressive features, like a hump on the back, then it isn't as marketable. Okay, less people will enjoy it, because obviously not everyone's using a claw grip necessarily, right? Okay, so once again, for palm, ergo. For claw, I would recommend a mouse with a big butt, probably an ambidextrous mouse, an ambi mouse, over ergo. But you can still use a palm. You can still use an ergo mouse with claw. But I'd say ambi is probably the way to go if you're using the claw grip. And then finally, fingertip. If you're using fingertip, there's a lot less options for you, unfortunately. So, I mean, because the thing is, you see how all of these mice, they have this certain length, right, to allow this palm support at the back. If you're using fingertip, you don't need that. It actually restricts the range of motion, right? Whereas with this, which was designed for fingertip, you see it goes all the way back, and it allows you to, maximize the effectiveness of, this grip style. And that's in addition to the low height. So the problem is, mouse companies don't design mice like this, because fingertip grip is very niche already. So if a mouse company was to design a mouse for that grip style, it doesn't have mass market appeal like the G Pro wireless does, And just because there's 3 main grip styles, and this is one of them, doesn't mean that a third of PC gamers are using fingertip. It's very niche. So it's not something you're going to see. This was made by an indie company called Zonkinig. This is a very expensive mouse. Very expensive. It was like €300 or something like that. It's because, if you want niche products, then you have to pay, exorbitant prices at the end of the day. There was a company called G-Wolves who were going to make a fingertip mouse. They designed it, sent it out to reviewers. We haven't heard anything since. Which is really unfortunate, because if you're a fingertip grip user, then there's not really much you can do. All I can really recommend is just get the smallest mouse possible, something like this. This is the Finalmouse Ultralight 2. Not this mouse exactly, because it's off sale. You can't get it anymore. Okay, so other design aspect for mice that you might want to look at is the button height. So you see for the Endgame XM1, the button height is very low compared to other mice, right? See? There's a theory that having low mouse buttons allows for better aim. So that's one aspect you may want to consider. Also, the width of the mouse is very important. So Rocket Jump Ninja, his theory is that the width of the mouse should match the width of your 3 fingers for best aiming performance. So the thing is, if you have a mouse that is too narrow, then it can cause cramps. Rocket Jump Ninja's theory is that if the width is too wide, then it can inhibit your performance. And he used the example of using like a ballpoint pen to write, how precise you can be, and then trying to then write with a pen the size of a cucumber. You know, how much less precise you're going to be, you know. So potentially smaller mice allow you to reach your potential, while larger mice may inhibit you to some extent. Also, I'm not saying that Rocket Jump Ninja necessarily knows what he's talking about. You know, he has certain theories, and that, you know, that's all they are. You have to test these things out for yourself, you know, and just because I say that, you know, oh, you're a palm grip user, you should be using something like a Death Adder. It may not necessarily mean that that's the mouse that you're going to best perform with. You know, everyone is different. Mice are very personal. Everyone has different hands. So you have to find what works best for you. This is just a starting off point, really. And you know, really getting you guys to think about what kind of shape you might want to purchase, you know, deeper than just, oh, let's buy a G Pro Wireless. You know, G Pro Wireless is a great mouse. It's just very neutral, you know, it tries to please everyone, and in my opinion that means that it best pleases no one, you know. But that's my opinion.